I'm Mark Reed Edwards. Welcome back to Confessions of a Marketer. On this episode, Ritus Loris, co-founder and CEO of Omnisend, a marketing automation platform, joins us to discuss omni-channel marketing. Ritus, it's great to have you here.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for inviting. Really pleasure to be here and to talk to you and the audience.
Yeah, it should be a fun discussion. Can you share your background and tell me about Omnisend?
Yeah, for sure. So, my background is actually I'm coming from political sciences. That's what I formally graduated back in the days. But since then, I have never worked in that field, but more or less I was close to marketing, more traditional one initially. Then I was running digital marketing agency, which Omnisend is actually a spin-off of that previous agency activities. So we saw a very unique opportunity, which those who do sell online, e-commerce stores have, because their entire customer journey of their customers are happening online, which enables you to track more, to really better understand your customers and really make marketing more personalized based on that signals which you can collect from your customers while they are browsing your store, while they are looking for products, comparing them, abandoning, getting back, and all those signals which are very important and which digital businesses have this privilege to have this data comparing to old school or offline businesses. Yeah, so that's how Omnisend was born, as we saw this unique opportunity to really help e-commerce merchants and entrepreneurs and marketers, e-commerce marketers, to do their marketing better and to communicate with their customers better in a more personalized way and make marketing in general less intrusive and more relevant for their customers. That's what is our mission. We're not there yet, but it's a long-term play. And this is what Omnisend currently does. So for those who are selling online, we help to communicate with your existing customers while sending emails, text messages, web push notifications, synchronizing your customers with your Google and Facebook audiences in order to run proper retargeting or lookalike audiences campaigns. Yeah, so basically that's a marketing automation tool which helps to send better messages on the right time.
Excellent. So it's a term we hear all the time, omnichannel marketing. Can you define it for me and tell me why it's so effective?
Yeah, so it's a marketing when you allow your customers, you as a brand, as a merchant, as a marketer, you allow your customers to choose the most preferred channels for a brand to communicate with them. So it can be an email, text messages, maybe some messengers, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and others. So it's up to the customer to choose the most preferred channel. What is the best for you as a marketer or as a brand is really to have more channels and permissions to communicate with your existing customers through more channels than one, which really increase the effectiveness of your marketing like a lot. And then from a marketer standpoint and from e-commerce store standpoint, what does that omnichannel mean? And then you put different channels on the same flow, on the same sequence. Very basic, though illustrative example is someone has abandoned your cart. So usually what do brands do? They do send emails, 1 email, 2 emails, 5 emails. It's like marketer's decision.
And often it happens immediately, right? You leave the cart to go do something else and suddenly you get an email. It can be irritating.
Yeah, that's true. So you have to really find the best sequence and the best time to send it. But what is that definition of immediately? So from our standpoint and from our customers, as we analyze their behavior, so the most effective is the first message when it goes out half an hour to 1 hour after the cart has been abandoned. So it's not like in minutes, but really, this is the most effective. So augmenting email with other channels like text messages, like push notifications, is really what helps you to increase your reach, sometimes by far. So this is what really creates a value. As well as you can run different campaigns for different purposes using different mediums, not only email, which is definitely still the most effective, but flash sale campaigns. Or we are heading to holiday season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So why not to send text message with a pre-sale campaign, which is very, very unique, and your customers who were kind of brave enough to leave and to allow you to communicate via text messages, they get a unique offer, which others don't get. And they can use the best pre-sale price, let's say, etc. So really combining those different channels and putting different mediums on the single flow, either it's automation or campaign flow, is what omnichannel actually means.
Yeah. Okay. So you just mentioned email, and I've heard that you think email marketing is dead. Why is that?
Yeah, so that's why we believe that we should, marketers, we should not be thinking as email marketing as something separate as we used to do. So having this omnichannel approach, more comprehensive approach, is the most important thing. That's why we say email marketing is dead, because we believe that omnichannel marketing is the new reality. And you cannot have specialists just for email marketing not thinking about text messages, web push notifications, Google and Facebook ads, which usually they are separated now.
Yeah.
But it all has to be combined, and the marketing has to be holistic, and you have to put your customer journey in front of that, at the core of that. As usually, still a lot of us, marketers, we think in campaigns like, okay, we're going to send email campaign. Maybe we're going to send some separated SMS campaign another week. But this is a wrong approach. That's what we preaching.
Yeah. In marketing, and maybe in business in general, we like to kind of segment things. So there's digital marketing, there's social media marketing, there's email marketing, and really content marketing. And really, it's all just marketing. And so you're kind of thinking in that way, aren't you?
Absolutely correct. So yeah, once we segment those things, what happens, that again, what I said, we start thinking in campaigns, not in the customer lifecycle. We put ourselves in the center, not the customer.
Right.
Which is the most important, to put your customer in the center. And actually, using those different mediums, you just create touch points with your customer. Your customer somehow finds you on social media, goes to your website, maybe goes to your Amazon storefront, then maybe comes back to your website, then Googles and finds you on Google, etc. So there are a lot of different touch points while you're acquiring customer. Exactly the same happens once you are retaining customer. And like Omnisend and those channels like email, text messages, push notifications, they are retention marketing channels. And you are communicating with your already existing customers, because you have to have a permission to communicate with your customers via those channels. But again, once you think about, okay, so someone has, like Mark has purchased for the first time. So what can I do next? Just sending random campaigns to Mark will not be that effective. But if I know that Mark will get a parcel receive a parcel in 3 days, so in 1 day, I can just send a follow-up message with a satisfaction survey.
Mm-hmm.
Like NPS. How did you like our service? How did you like our product? I can use different mediums to do that, send emails, send text message, etc. Ask us. Once Mark is like super happy about that, evaluates us 10. So we ask Mark to go to our social media and to leave a review, or to go to our storefront and to leave a review. If Mark is not that happy and evaluates us 6, so maybe it's worth sending this message to our call center support team, and then proactively reaching out to Mark in order to convert him from unhappy customer to happy customer.
Yeah.
So those are just small examples. Once we put customer at the center, the way we're thinking, it completely changes, and then we are not segmenting at least by mediums,
Yeah.
as you mentioned, like social media, email, and other mediums.
Yeah. I want to talk about personalization. Now, some companies think just by personalizing an email and putting the greeting in there and saying, hey, Mark, so and so and so and so, that is personalization. But it's really about relevance too, isn't it? You have to combine the two. And how should we do that?
Absolutely. It's all about relevance. So the best way, and I would say there are two main things, apart of what you have mentioned, just putting name into a message. So 2 things how you can personalize. The first one, and the best one, is really to listen to the signals your customers are sending you. Basically, it's automated marketing. Once you automate and you listen to the signals, you have triggers that Mark has been browsing this specific product category, let's say leadership books or marketing books or maybe kid books. So what helps you to really identify what is the intent of market today? Because the intent today could be completely different to the one which we saw in the past. And that's absolutely understandable, because we are people, we are living interesting lives, and we are interested in many different things. Yeah, so this is the best way really to personalize. Once we identify what is the intent, what is the interest currently of our customer, and then send messages with a content which really reflects the interest and the intent. So this is the first way to personalize. The second way to personalize is really based on other demographic data or previous behavior. So when you can segment and personalize by segmenting, put your customers into different buckets, and then run different campaigns, automations accordingly. So it's not as good as the first one once you listen to signals, but still it works. And only the third level of personalization, I would say, is really adding name or whatever, small state or city of your customer. It's just the third level.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, I want to talk about channels now. We mentioned email, obviously the web is a channel, and you also mentioned texting. Which channel is most effective? It strikes me that email has become kind of a slower medium. You don't expect as much response, but boy, when you get a text message, it seems to me at least that maybe you get a faster response that way. So, which channels have you found to be most effective?
You're right. So text is much more effective, and let's say we have analyzed our customers' behavior and effectiveness of different channels last Black Friday season, and holiday season, Cyber Weekend, and then a couple of weeks around that. So we saw that actually SMS campaigns and text campaigns had 7 times higher conversion rate comparing to the email.
Yeah.
So it's and as you said, you barely can ignore it as a customer, as a receiver, and you have to somehow interact with a message. By the terms of total revenue, which is being generated by different channels, so email is still the most effective channel.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why is it so is because usually the mailing list subscribers, mailing subscriber lists, are much bigger. And let's say average online store, we have tens of thousands of email subscribers, but only hundreds of or just thousands of text messages subscribers.
Sure.
So that's where the difference comes from. But I would say that there is still a huge opportunity for us marketers, those who are selling online, to really invest more into collecting phone numbers. And nowadays, there is still a bit of stigma of SMS marketing, which actually was the case in the past, that it's so hard to unsubscribe. So people are not willing to leave a phone number because just too personal data and too much spam has been sent in the past, and people are still afraid to leave their phone numbers, and they do it much easier with SMS, which is true at some extent. But what you can promise, and of course you have to keep your promise, is that nowadays it's so easy to unsubscribe phone.
Yeah.
So it's either if you are US or Canada based, you just send stop, and it just immediately stops the future communication. If you are outside those two countries, usually at least what we do, we put the link, unsubscribe link, just very short link at the end of the text. So it's as easy as to unsubscribe from your email campaign. And it's so well regulated, which is much strictly regulated comparing to an email. So really there is much fewer spam coming from. So you can explain all of that to your potential subscribers, and they're really willing to subscribe for text messages as well. And especially those who are the most loyal to your brand, to your store, to your product, to your service, which is a great asset to have. That means that you have immediate communication with those who are the most loyal customers already. And that's asset which every business would love to have, I would say. So yeah, I would encourage to work much more onto collecting SMS subscribers.
Yeah. It's a much more intimate relationship, I think. You can go to Google and sign up for an email address that you use as kind of a spam trap. but very few people have multiple phone numbers to route messages that, might be commercial to one number and have family call another because of the complexity of doing that. So when I give out my text message, it has to be meaningful to me
Exactly.
when I give out my phone number.
Exactly. And that's very, very important aspect. Once you as a marketer, once you have like email subscriber list and say text message subscriber list, so because of what you just said, you are very sure that those whose phone numbers you have, they are much better customers to you.
Yeah.
So you can treat them as like VAPs. You can run like flash sale campaigns. You can bring them better offers and let them know that this is a very exclusive offer just because you are a text message subscriber. And of course, you have to be, you to be transparent
Yeah.
and honest. Yeah, if you say that this is exclusive, it has to be exclusive.
Right. Right. I want to change the focus a little bit. Talk about bootstrap startups. You've been involved in a lot of those. What are the pros and cons of choosing a bootstrapping model for your business?
Oh yeah, this is a good question. So I'm a big fan myself of bootstrapping, and Omnisend is bootstrapped still, although it's like now it's pretty large company. We will soon be 100 employees all around the world, and so the benefits of for anyone who is just starting business, I would recommend to go as far as you can on your own. I mean, without taking external funding. In some businesses, it could be more and more challenging to do that because they are just very capital intense. But yeah, I would encourage you to do that just because it forces you to put your customer at the very center. Because what does that bootstrapping means? That means that your customers are your investors. They buy your product, they stay with your product, they use it month over month, and that's how they vote with their own money for the quality of your product, if they like or if they not. If they don't like, they churn. So that what really forces you not to think less about like marketing and how to attract more customers without even having a good product, but really it makes you to think about the product, about the value you're creating for your customers at first. And if you nail it, it's going to be much easier in the future to grow once you start putting money in marketing, sales, and all those go to market efforts. So probably this is the key thing. And the second thing is more kind of on the personal level. So do you prefer having like all the freedom, or do you prefer sharing that with freedom as well as responsibility with someone, for example, investor?
Yeah. So, what lessons have you learned over the time that you've owned OmniSend and your other ventures that you would share with listeners, that maybe things you did wrong at first that you learned the second time around that you could do better?
Yeah, so few things. So I had experience. I have raised money for my previous startups. This is my third startup, and like maybe six or so, seven like business in general. And like after unsuccessful startup attempt, I came back to more traditional business, as I have already mentioned at the very beginning. Like Omnisend is a spin-off from digital marketing agency when you just sell human hours, creativity for your customers on demand, and it's
Yep.
more like project based thing. So I would call it more traditional business, not a startup, because there is no high growth potential there. Yeah, so the lesson is probably a couple of things. So just do it. So launch MVP, whatever idea you have, bring it to the market as soon as you can, test it on the market in real life situations. It's one thing probably, because sometimes people, once they have a great idea, they keep that idea for too long instead of just start implementing and bringing to the market to test in real life situations with the real customers. Do they really need it, or are they willing to pay for the service, etc. And the second, and probably kind of the most important lesson which I have learned, is really it's all about finding a monetizable customer pain. Is your solution is a painkiller?
Yeah.
Or is just a vitamin? If it's a must-have for the business, for the customer, if it's so, if you're solving a real pain for a customer, if you help to save money, to earn more money, if it's B2B product, so your customers will be happy paying you. And this is very important. More value you create for our customers, more money you earn for yourself, for your business as well. So probably this is kind of key lessons which I have learned.
I like that. Is it a painkiller or a vitamin?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it's very very clear distinction, because
Yeah.
we buy painkillers no matter what. We buy vitamins and consume vitamins. Some of us do, some of us don't. So it's just
Yeah.
and painkillers are needed for everyone who has headache or any other ache.
Yeah. Speaking of pain, before we close, I just want to get your thoughts on, what has the last 6 months been like for you and your employees and your business and your clients as we face this pandemic?
Oh yeah, that's as for all of the businesses, it's a bit of challenging. At the same time, we are so lucky to serve the industry, which is currently growing and booming. So, as vast majority of our customers are e-commerce businesses, and we really help them to grow their businesses, to scale them. So, we see a huge demand for our services now. So, definitely, there are some organizational challenges as organization is growing by itself. All this forced remote work, which we were already like a distributed organization, but not 100%. And we still had opportunities to meet in events or like have offsites, which are like super important for businesses, but for bonding teams and people inside the company. But yeah, so there are those challenges. At the same time, it's like really fascinating time for us to be in. This crisis is more like an opportunity for us than a threat. So we are so happy to be in the e-commerce industry.
Great. Well, this was a wonderful chat. Thanks for joining me, Rytis. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Mark, for inviting.
All right, that does it for this week. Thanks for listening. I'm Mark Reed Edwards, executive producer, writer, and host of Confessions of a Marketer. Shep Salau is my producer, helping put together the shows every week. Annalyn Timball is my assistant, and she helps with guest relations and getting everything scheduled just right. Thanks, Shep and Annalyn. Confessions of a Marketer is a trademark of Podco Media Networks, and this episode is copyright 2020. Stay healthy, and see you next time.